Another episode of On the Road with the Loan Signing System. I am so excited about today's episode. I'm excited about every one of these episodes, but I have the amazing Taffy. And Taffy is what you would now call a six-figure signing agent. She made $100,000 in 2019. How does that sound when I say that, Taffy?
That is amazing. And I still just get goosebumps going, oh my gosh, I did it.
I'm so proud of you. Your journey is amazing. We have a lot of different students who have different journeys, it's real quick ones and real long ones. And can't wait to tell people how your journey to six figures. The first thing I want to say though, Taffy, is there's so many signing agents who email me or comment, it's impossible to make six figures as a signing agent. And maybe you thought that before you became a six-figure signing agent. So just talk about that real quick to inspire other people of what's possible.
So it is possible. What you have to do is get your mindset to say that you can make the six figures. Because if you say you can't, guess what? You won't make it because you've already made up your mind. But you have to change your mindset. The way we think about anything is the way things manifest first in the natural. So if you say you can't, you won't. If you don't believe in yourself, guess what? You stop yourself all day long. And so change your programming for yourself. And you want to see it happen for your family, then make a difference for your family. Believe in yourself. Do something absolutely different. Say, today, I'm going to make a difference, and watch it happen.
I love it, Taffy. Yeah, because I thank you for talking through that. And I want to say I'm so proud of you. You know how much I just love you and your family, and to see your journey the past 2 years is just insane. And to know you've made six figures, I just say I'm proud of you. I can't say it enough, Taffy.
I appreciate that. But I took everything you said and just put it to heart and said, okay, I believe in Taffy. Let's see what Taffy can do.
Let's go. Let's just talk. And these conversations aren't about the money you make, but you are a six-figure signing agent. And so, has the six-figure salary this year changed you and your family's life?
Oh, absolutely. I was even able to bring my husband home about midway through last year because of what I had done with the income. And so I was like, you know what? Walk away from that toxic situation. I got you. Come home and let's start over. And so that made a big difference for him and the kids because they were seeing him struggle and be upset. And then they were like, Mom, it just changed. And I was like, absolutely.
Okay, hold on. This is crazy. I didn't know this. So mid-year, your business started scaling. And so you essentially told your husband you should walk away from your job because I got us.
Yes, I did. I said, I'm not going to put up with you for another 6 months in that frustration. I was literally watching him come home, sit on the couch, and just heavy sighs, just all that frustration, wanting to do something else, but didn't have the drive nor the passion because of being in such a toxic environment. And I said, walk away. I got us.
Oh my God, I want to start crying. That is so amazing. I mean, literally, it changed your family dynamic. It changed your husband's energy. And that's the power of being a signing agent. I tell so many students and would-be signing agents, like, if you put your mind to it, you apply the system, you can change your family's life. And that's why I teach these courses. And I just love hearing these stories, and thank you for sharing it. And so, let's just kind of segue into the question that I basically start every one of these conversations with, Taff. And why did you become a signing agent? And your story is kind of unique from many different aspects, but I'm gonna let you tell it. And why did you make the decision to become a loan signing agent?
As most husbands think that they are they know that they're the provider. And they don't want to say, hey, I need you to help me out when it comes to finances, this type of thing. And at the time, Mark, we only had one car. So I was getting up and taking him to work and then going and doing signings. And so my whole purpose was, I need to be able to relieve some of that stress and some of that pressure from him so that he can be better and have better energy, as we were saying. And it would make a difference for the kids. Because like I said, I'm a homeschool parent. And so they were seeing him having that frustration, but being stuck. And I said, you know what? It's on me to help him not watch his spirit die. Because if I can do something, then I'm going to take on that responsibility. I'm going to do something. And I became a signing agent.
Taffy, this is just so inspirational and awesome. I mean, what I heard was, you made a decision to help because the situation that your husband feels, a lot of husbands feel, and even, like they feel the pressure and of trying to support and provide for the entire family. I mean, look, I'm a husband. I feel that pressure. I would be dishonest if I didn't. And so the fact that you looked at him and said, look, life's beating you up, your job's beating you up, I'm going to come in and help you out. And Taffy, that's amazing. And I also didn't know you only had one job in the beginning of this. We're going to talk about, one car.
Yes.
We're going to talk about your journey in this latter part of this conversation, but to drop them off to work, take the car, do signings, come back. I mean, your life has changed 360 for this, and just to watch the journey is amazing. I'm so, so happy for you.
And it has been phenomenal. And it was, in the beginning, it was a little hard because I would turn down jobs because I didn't want him to stay at work late. But then he got to the point, he said, don't turn it down, we'll work it out. Just take the signing. And I said, okay, I will.
So I love it, and so, that fact you're a homeschool parent. Let's kind of talk about, so you're a homeschool parent, which I didn't know, by the way, so I love getting these interviews. I get to know you students even better. So being a signing agent allows you to work a schedule that brings in 6 figures, but then also allows you to be with your children and do that homeschooling. Does that sound about right? Or, talk through that. I think it's really intriguing part of your story.
So that is absolutely correct. So what I do is I would work around my kids' schedule. Now my kids are teenagers and so they're older. So I was able to set that schedule ahead of time and then just talk with them and say, okay, so here's what my schedule looks like for this week. Let's talk about what the school schedule is going to look like. And then also incorporate, I got to get up earlier to take dad and drop him off at work. And then I got to pick him up later. And so that also included, let's incorporate how we're going to have meals, because there's so many times where I was like, okay, they're good enough to where they can cook now, but I was like, oh my gosh, I got to make sure people are eating, so it was like really set the schedule and the tone for the whole household based on what I was doing with this business.
And you can do this whole business around that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And the kids are thriving.
I love it. I mean, they're thriving for, sounds like, so many reasons. I mean, your husband's energy and outlook on life has to change. And it's crazy where, it sounds like you're now the sole provider, which is like, just, how good does that make you feel?
Oh, that makes me feel so good because I've been able to, we came out on vacation to San Diego and I told them, I said, you guys can get whatever you want. Money is not an object, just get whatever you want. And it's just done. And they were just like, oh, that's so awesome. And my husband said it even spoke volumes to him. Because usually on vacation, you think about the bills and what you got to do when you get back and all this kind of stuff. But I had paid everything before we even left. And it was like, let's just go have fun.
Oh, Taffy, this is like such an amazing interview. I always tell people, why money's great is because money buys freedom,
Yes.
and that's why I try to get you guys to always think big and grow big. A lot of people on the outside go, you always say 6 figures, 6 figures. And even if you don't want to make 6 figures as a signing agent, let's say you're like Brian Schooley, who does $5,000-$6,000 a month. It's this mindset of anything is possible, and anything is possible in this industry. And you said it better than I ever have said it, and that is, if you can think that, if you can have that mindset, you can create a business like yours, Taffy, which is $100,000, man. I mean, when I say that out loud, I mean, how does that sink in for you?
And it does. It just seems so surreal. It really does, because it's still, because I just finished calculating. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I love it. And I teach all you students is you got to appreciate your wins. Momentum creates momentum. So I want you to really sit back and like, wow, I did this. And that's going to inspire yourself to do it next year. I mean, Taffy, you got a signing service in your future. You know this. I am so proud of you. But thank you for sharing your journey of you and your family and how you're now the sole provider. And you're smiling ear to ear so far this entire episode. And I know that smile's not going to go away until the end. So I just want to say, I feel the energy through this. I feel just how your spirit being lifted and just calmness about you. And so I'm so, so happy for you, Taff.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about your journey, because I think your journey is as inspiring as what we've already talked about. As you know very well about the family, right? We have some students where they're getting the 10K club after 2 or 3 months. We have some students where it's taking 5 years to break that 6-figure mark, right? Your journey is really cool because it took you 2 years. Well, you're at the end of your 2nd year of being a signing agent. And before I get into this amazing journey, I'd like to maybe use a little more inspiration. Before you became a signing agent, were you a signing agent? Were you a real estate agent? Were you in the industry?
I was not in the industry at all. I was actually a freelance paralegal. And that's what I did for 19 years. So I had no ties to this industry.
And so what you're saying is if you can do it, anyone can learn this from scratch.
Absolutely. It just take the time and go through the process and learn the documentation, and it'll make it easier because the more you see it, the more comfortable you will become.
This is amazing. So you are a six-figure signing agent with zero experience as of 2 years ago. Like that alone is an amazing testament to just your amazing.
Absolutely. Because I still, like I said, every time I think about what I've done, it's like when I look back at where I started, I'm like, that went really fast though.
Well, first off, thank you for saying that because the amazing thing is I think 2 years is fast. I tell you all you students, I didn't make six figures in this business until year number 6. So it took me 6 years to get to six figures. It took you too, but what I want to say is some people would see that as slow. And it's like,
Right.
and it's not slow. You went from never being a signing agent to being a six-figure signing agent in 2 years and 24 months. That is insane. So let's talk about this journey because your journey is super inspiring because it's not a journey of, oh, I took the loan signing system and 3 months later I was making $5,000 a month. So let's talk and tell other signing agents about your journey, and because I think your journey is an appropriate growth model. If you're making six figures after 2 years, I personally think I've done my job, right? But you know,
Right.
a lot of people take the course and like, well, I'm not making six figures after the first 12 months. And I'm like, that's not real. But you can make six figures after a couple years and make that your salary is never going to go down now. You've created the relationships. And
Yes.
the moment I started making six figures and you're number 6, I haven't made less than six figures in over 10 years. Because once you create get to that income level, the relationships build themselves. And then that's where you keep going higher and higher. So you are to the point now where you're just going to crush it. And so let's talk about your journey specifically. Talk people through like the next 6 months of that journey.
So even the first month, I only had one signing, period, the first month. And so I stuck with it. My whole goal was learn the documentation for my state. And I signed up with signing services because I said I wanted to make sure I was able to make my mistakes, learn what I needed to learn as far as the documentation, but also start building that relationship with the signing services.
Month number 1, you did one signing.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about the next 6 months. How much money, how many signings did you do in the first 5 months, 6 months of being a signing agent?
So probably within the first 5 months, it was more like maybe 15, 20 signings total. And by
Okay.
month 5, I hit $1,000 only in month 5. And I stuck with myself. I said, you know what? I was so proud because I was like, I hit $1,000, you know? And then I thought too, I made my investment back. So I was like, I'm ready to keep on going because I know I can do more. And it probably was at that month where husband and I had a discussion about this one car that we had. And he said, don't say no. Because I had been saying no from not wanting him to stay at work so late.
Mhm.
And I started saying yes and yes and yes again. And the signings just started coming more and more. And after each signing, I would write back to the company and I would say, the signing is done, I'm dropping docs. And they would get to the point where they said, well, you don't have to tell us. And I said, no, I need you to know that I dropped the docs and the signing went fine. And so I was like, okay, but it took me 5 months to hit $1,000.
So let's talk about a couple things in there. And I think that's really inspiration for current loan signing system students, for signing agents who are just watching this, who aren't part of the LSS family. And that is, your mindset is so powerful. I tell all you students the biggest key to success is what's between your ears. And the fact that, when you got to 1,000, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to 1,000. It wasn't, oh, it took me 5 months to get to 1,000. And that mindset, I can take no credit for, Taffy. I'm so proud of just to know you. That's you inspire me. This positive outlook on life. I hope people are just really understanding that. Are you looking at the glass half empty or half full? And I know that's cliche, but when you really embrace the half full mentality, you'll understand that the $1,000 milestone, even though you took you 5 months, it is incredible. And so I want students and anyone watching this is like, it took you 5 months to get to 1,000, but you are now a six-figure signing agent. Talk about the word perseverance. This is what embodies a loan signing system student, understanding that they need to trust the process, trust the system, believe in themselves. A lot of students, and I'll be honest with you, we have students where I'll get emails after month number 3 saying, Mark, I've only got 5 signings. I'm going to quit the business. I'm like, please stick with it. Everyone's journey is different. You stuck with it for 5 months and you made $1,000. You had to share the one car with your husband to get to 1,000, and you couldn't be more ecstatic. I am so proud of you. So let's continue on. I hope people are just smiling ear to ear with you, because this is an amazing story of perseverance and just believing yourself and trusting the system. So 0 through 5, you made $1,000. Let's talk about the latter half of your first year. What did that look like? How much money were you making per month? And kind of walk people through that journey.
So the latter half, I saw the income go from $1,000 to up to $2,000, and it was getting busier. I was getting busier, and it's because I
don't mean to cut you off. I just want to clarify. So it went from 1,000 to 2,000. So you made $2,000 in the next 6 months, or are you going from $2,000 a month? What talk through
no,
that?
I went from 1.5 up to $2,000 by the end of the year.
Per month.
Per month.
Got it. Okay, this is great. So you made, just to recap, is you made $1,000 for the first 5 months.
Yes.
Total. And then right after that is when your business started creating that momentum I always talk about, and you were making $1,500 to $2,000 a month for the latter part of your first year. So you made anywhere from, like, what's the math on that, $12,000 to $15,000 in the second part of your year.
So total for that year was $16,000. The first year total. And every time I look at that, I go, oh my gosh, what was I doing?
I love it. I love it. I mean, like, I hope people are really wrapping their head around that. Year 1, you did $16,000.
Yes.
Year 2, you did $100,000. And all I hear, Taffy, is the word perseverance in my head over and over. You did not look at year 1 as like, oh, I only made 16. You looked at year 1 like, if I can make 16,
that's right.
Sky's the limit. And that is what I hope people are inspired by. You pushed through, you trusted the system, you trusted the process, you went to conference, you did everything you were supposed to do. Like so many signing agents would see $16,000 after the first year as a failure, frankly.
Oh no. Because let me share this. That's $16,000 I didn't have before. Come on. My household got $16,000. Come on. I went from $100 to $16,000 total. Please, we were so excited. We were so excited.
I'm so excited, and your excitement, you can see in your face. And so what I want other signing agents who are watching this is to understand, like, that's the mindset of a 6-figure signing agent, right? I wanted people to dig into the psyche of what it takes to be 6 figures. And part of the psyche of being 6 figures is the mindset, like, $16,000 isn't a failure. $16,000 is amazing. $16,000 shows you what is possible. And that is the difference between a 6-figure signing agent and a signing agent who isn't at the 6-figure level, is that mindset that 16 is a failure versus 16 shows me what I can do, and I'm just getting started.
That's right. I haven't even scratched the surface, because what can change in your household with $16,000? What just changed? What are the possibilities?
And so thank you. And that's what I hope. So like I said, I've said this a few times. I hope people watch this back and learn to think like you. And that's why I do this, is I want to dig into the psyche of the successful signing agents. And once again, I tell you, Taff, and I think you know this from the Facebook group, people are like, oh, I only made $1,000 in my first 3 months. It took you 5 months to get to $1,000. It took you a year to get to $16,000. And then your second full year, you made 6 figures as a loan signing agent. Incredible. So let's talk about year number 2. So you're going into year number 2 and you're like, okay, I know it's possible. Tell everybody watching what changed. Like, so you're going from $16,000 to, let's talk about, so your first month in the second year, how much did you make? I know you don't have it in front of you, but more or less.
I still, the first month, it was like $2,400. And so I was excited because I was like, okay, that's the tone I'm going to set for going up the rest of the year. I needed to know I could still repeat what I finished with in 2018. I needed to know I could start off 2019 the same way. And so I was excited. I was like, okay, game on, let's go.
Let's go. Okay, so talk about the mindset, right? Because I think that's what I think might be inspirational. Some people is you did $16,000, and so you're like year number 2, you're making a goal. Like what? is the mindset of Taffy at that point?
So at that point, honestly, it wasn't to make six figures by the end of 2019 because I didn't know. I was just getting started, and I said, okay, I know I did 16. Now it's to just even double what I just did for this year. And so my mindset was, okay, I've worked with signing services for the whole first year. So I'm very comfortable with what I know in documentation. Now is the game plan to start getting out there to go direct. Get out there. If I'm scared, just get out there and make people know who I am and
Love
see
it.
my face and start talking about what I bring to the table.
Okay.
But I could talk about who Taffy was and how she could catch errors or how she would see documents missing and call you and tell you ahead of time so that they would be able to send it to me so that the client would be happy. I
Okay.
could
So
talk about that.
I love it. I love it. What I really heard was, and I think this is inspiring. There are signing agents watching this right now, Taffy, who all they do is get signing service business. And that moment doesn't click for them, right? So after year number one, you proved to yourself that I could do $16,000. I wasn't making errors on my documents. I was able to execute my documents. And I love that you talked about, because what happened in 2019 is you went direct. I think the mindset of a six-figure signing agent is, I'm going to use the tools that I'm going to give. I'm going to go out and believe in myself enough to go marketing to title companies and escrow companies. I'm going to take a little bit of tangent here.
Okay.
I'm vibing our conversation right now. Because I think what's inspirational too, Taffy, is you're a paralegal. So you never came from a background of sales. And so I want people to see that a six-figure signing agent isn't a former salesman. I think there's a misnomer that if you're a six-figure signing agent working for title business, oh, you must have been a car salesman in your past. Oh, you must have been a pharmaceutical representative. Oh, you must have sold cell phones or something. You're a lady who came from a paralegal background and now is going out marketing her business, which to a certain degree is sales. Talk about that transition. Were you nervous? I mean, because I want someone to be like, okay, Taffy, like who's watching this, like, Taffy, I know I need to go direct. I get it, but I'm just doggone nervous. Talk about how nervous you were. Talk about how you overcame those nerves. Kind of talk through that really quick.
So I was really nervous with that. Now, here's the thing. I would have the script in the car and I would be sitting in the parking lot at the title office. And you have to cheer yourself on in the car before you get out and walk in that office, and take a deep breath. Even if you have to get on the elevator, take a deep breath and then go in there and let them know who you are and what you bring to the table, because they don't know that they don't know who you are until you get out there. Because one of the things I noticed, Mark, was I was on a title company's preferred list for 1 year before anything happened. You can get on somebody's preferred list. That's not the win. The win is for them to start using you. And it was until I started going into those different offices constantly, making them know who I was and that I was on the list, that I started getting the work.
I love it. And I thank you for being honest and transparent about your nervousness. You don't need to be in sales. You just need to be honest, authentic, and let them know. And I teach all you students, people don't know you're open for business if you don't tell them you're open for business. That is the biggest key to convince a signing agent, is just that initial conversation. So whether you're a loan signing system student or not, I encourage you to go direct. Even if you don't have my script, just go in. Tell people how amazing you are, because that is the key. And you said it best, and that's what I teach you guys, is to talk yourself up, cheer yourself on. We are our own biggest cheerleaders. And if you can do that, walking into the title company gets easier and easier and easier and easier with every single one that you go to. So Taffy, you're amazing. I want people just to be inspired by Taffy. If Taffy can go market direct, do you think anyone can go market direct?
Oh, absolutely. And don't get discouraged if they tell you, I already have a pool of notaries that I use. Fine. If you have a shortage and you need somebody, think about me and leave your information. I have one title company now that uses me all the time, and that's what they told me when I walked in the door. We already have our notaries. I'm like, that's fine, but here's my information in case you have a shortage. And they use me all the time.
That's right. It's persistence beat resistance. That is a loan signing system mantra. And you know what I'm going to tell you, Taff, that I tell all the students that are doing really well, and is the most successful people are implementers. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. A lot of people think, oh, the people that will make a lot of money are these innovators who have these secret work ways that no one else knows about. No, you took the loan signing system, you applied what you learned, and you execute. And that's the key, is execution. And that I can take no credit for. But I'm excited that you actually are sharing that you just implemented what you learned. And that, I think, is inspirational with itself, because a lot of these signing agents out there just kind of like floating around trying to figure out what to do. When you're like, when there's a path set for you, just walk down the path.
Yes, follow the path. Don't try to do nothing different. Don't think outside the box, because you don't have to. Follow the system that has been put in front of you.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So now, sorry about that right turn, but I thought that was really interesting that you start talking about going direct. So year number 2, let's go back to your journey. So year number 2, you're like, okay, I'm amazing. I did 16K. I'm going to start marketing direct. All right. And so talk about the journey. So you did $2,400 your first month of, year number 2, which I think people need to start doing some calculations in their head real quick. You did $2,400 in the very first month of 2019, but yet you still finished at 6 figures. So, yes. But people need to understand is you're scaling this and you're scaling it quick. So let's talk about that. So first quarter, so go back to like 2,400 and talk about the rest of the journey.
So even like within that first quarter, I think I was like I had probably hit about $7,000 or $8,000 just in the first quarter. And then I said, oh, I know I'm going to do better. And it jumped from the first quarter, went from like $8,000 to, it was like 6.9, 7. And then it went like, boom, right to 9. And I was so excited because I had never really looked at, oh my gosh, now I can sit down and take care of the whole house. Because again, I said, I need to calculate what it would cost me to run my house. And that made such a difference. I was like, I could have actually brought my husband home earlier if I had really paid attention to that. But I didn't, I really hadn't paid attention. And so you do need to be able to scale your business, but have a plan as to how you're going to scale, whether it's going to be strictly signing services, direct, or combination. We have the freedom to do both. And so up through about month 5, I was still doing both in 2019. And then it was like after May, I was like straight direct.
God, and you just took off like a rocket. You got into the 10K club, the exclusive 10K club. I cannot wait to see you at conference next year, walking across the stage with that plaque. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so at the end of sounds like a second quarter, more or less, you made the decision that you're going all direct.
Yes.
So in the last 6 months of this year is when your business truly started skyrocketing, and you're doing 5 figures every month. And that's what kind of got you over the hump of being a 6-figure signing agent. Is the last 6 months you're doing 10K or more and every month. And that is when your business is where it's at. So let's talk about the last 6 months. And if somebody's watching this episode in the future, because he's live on YouTube, I think it's January 10th. So, basically 2019 just ended. And so let's talk about the last 6 months of this amazing year you've had. So how many signings are you doing a day, more or less? Let's talk about through that, what that looks like, what the day in the life of a 6-figure signing agent looks like.
And incidentally, my day in the life of a 6-figure agent is really probably different because I usually have 4 signings a day. I don't always have signings, but I'll get up and get dressed and be ready for them. And then I'll just get bombarded. And my signings come from, I have escrow officers, I have title companies, some local, some out of state, but I have relationships where my signings come through all the time. And one thing that really struck me really huge was on New Year's Eve, I had 8 signings. I was like, it's New Year's Eve. Are you serious? I was like, oh my gosh. But the signings were coming in from all over the place. And so I didn't limit myself to say, I'm only going to work with this one group. I spread myself out so that work can come from everywhere. And that's the key. Make sure you can get work from everywhere so that it doesn't matter what's happening. You know that you can get closings any day that you want.
Yep, I love it. And then that's the beautiful part about where you're at in your business is really when the signings and the phone just start ringing off the hook because of what you built. And I try to tell all the students that we have is your business will get to this point. I know it's hard to see when you're only doing $16,000. I take that back. It's hard to see when you're doing 16. I'm gonna get rid of the only word. When you're doing $1,000 in a year, that your business can be to the point where you literally have more business you know what to do with. You did 8 signings on New Year's Eve. I mean, how much money was that? $1,500 in a day? $1,400?
It was something like that, yes.
I mean, that's incredible. You did $1,400 in one day, and you didn't do that for 5 months. The first.
Exactly. And every time I look at that, I'll be like, I've done this like in a matter of days. And it took me 5 months to get to $1,000. And now I'll say, okay, I know I can do this in a matter of a couple of days. What's the
Oh,
next goal? So I set weekly goals for myself and said, okay, this is how many signings I want to do in a week. But Mark, I have to tell you, when I looked at, so remember I said the first year I did 16,000, it was like 160 something signings. I ended with over 800 signings last year. And I'm like, what?
Taffy, let's go, man! 800 signings. I mean, I hope people are getting
Yes.
inspired. You want to know what it looks like to be a six-figure signing agent? How many signings? That's 800 signings. What I thought was really cool is what you said, though, really quickly, is you average about 4 signings a day. And so for the signing agents out there saying, man, what does it look like the day in the life of a six-figure signing agent? And the answer is very simply about 4 signings a day. And that is very doable, and you're doing that every single day. And Taffy has built this business in less than 24 months.
Yes. And I work on Sundays too. I do have closings on Sundays, which is not norm for most, but I get them on Sundays too. And that's why
That's
wherever you need, I'm here.
the loan signing system way, man. Do what others don't do,
Yes.
what others want to have. And
Yes.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for your family. I can't wait to see your family get a conference this year. I'm just proud of you, Tap. I hope I say that enough. Good. I mean, honestly, I'm just ecstatic. And my wife, knows your family too. I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
told Heather, I said, Taffy just said 6 figures. And Heather's like, no way. And then she was jumping and dancing. And so, I mean, that I feel like we're all family. So Heather, congratulations as well.
Thank you so much. We are so blessed to be connected to you, because it makes a difference when you have a mentor that's willing to pour into you and want to see you succeed, because that's what makes a difference. It's not about, let me just get another person in. We're not a number. We are family. So it makes a big difference.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that. I know our family's big, but it doesn't mean that I don't want every single one of you to crush it. Doesn't mean that I don't want a relationship with every single one of you. So I appreciate you saying that, because some people go, oh, Mark, will you really talk to me? I'm like, yeah, I'll talk to you, man. I'm all go.
Right?
Okay, cool. So thank you for your crazy, awesome, inspiring story. Let's get to some information that can help change some signing agents' business. Frankly, you've already given some amazing information that will help change businesses. They need to rewatch the first half of this video or episode, but let's get into some nitty gritty. So I always ask every successful signing agent on here, what is one tip you would give a signing agent trying to grow their business right now, from a 6-figure signing agent?
So every day when you get up, get dressed as if you have a signing. And I mean, you want to expect a signing coming in, because if they call you at the last minute, you need to just be able to print and go. Don't have to get dressed and get ready. Be ready. And also, if you get a signing and you're dropping documents to title, be dressed for a signing when you walk into title. Because I've been hanging around title and they'll go, can you go do one in the next hour? Of course I can. I'm ready to go. I don't have to go home and get dressed because I had on jeans and a sweatshirt. I'm dressed and I'm ready. But show them and show yourself, because that's your mindset. I'm ready for signings to come through today. Let me prove it. I'm already getting up and getting dressed for it.
Well, I think that's like a phenomenal insight into the mindset of a 6-figure signing agent, right? There's a saying, you don't got to get ready if you're already ready, right?
That's right.
But what I think is really cool, and let me talk through with you because I don't know the answer to this, but even when you're doing $2,000 a month, not when you're doing $14,000 a month, when you're doing $2,000 a month, did you always have this mindset of like, I'm going to wake up, take a shower, put my business clothes on, and be ready for the day? So was that your mindset early on, or was that something later in your journey?
No, that was early on. Always got up, got dressed, made sure face and hair was ready, and at the computer or on the phone looking, and I would actually be checking email going, I know a signing's coming through. I'm just waiting to see who it's going to be, because I had put the information out there, and I had either started writing people saying, guess what, I'm available. And I've even gotten to where I write 2 or 3 times a week saying, I still have openings. Do you need me to do something for you in Colorado?
Love it. And I think, let's see, that's the mindset of a successful, I think, person, not even a signing agent, is it's like, I'm going to get up and be ready, because a lot of people will wake up and they won't put their clothes on. They won't jump in the shower until they get that appointment. But it's something about getting ready and showering and being in your work clothes where you're like, just get you in the mindset of like, I'm ready for business. I'm open for business. And I would argue some of those emails that you're sending out is because you've put yourself in the mind state of like, I'm open for business. When you're
Yes.
in your pajamas or you're kind of walking around the house and you're doing 14 other things, you don't really get into that mindset. So I love that this was what you were doing even when you were a $2,000 a month signing agent. I think this is an amazing tip and or insight into the mindset of a six-figure signing agent, that even when you're $2,000 a month, you are getting up, showering, putting your business clothes on, and ready for the day, even though the days look different than they do today. And I think that's a real cool insight of what a six-figure signing agent thinks like.
Oh, absolutely. And same thing, even with the car, fill the car up with gas so that no matter where you had to go, the car was ready. Not I need to go and stop and get gas and that's going to delay me from getting to the signing on time. No, fill that car up and be ready to go so you can just jump in there and take off.
Oh, that's another great tip. I mean, the thing is, it's just the mindset shift, right? It's the mindset change of someone who knew they were going to be six figures well before they were six figures, which I think is another amazing conversation. Is you knew you were going to be here. It was just a matter of letting your processes get you there.
Yes, absolutely. Because if you desire to be in a certain place, then do what it takes to get there. Follow the process, but go out and make the connections. Because Mark, I'm an introvert at heart. I really am. But I was going to networking events, even in between signings. I would stop and drop in and then leave and go to the next signing. But I was telling people at the event, hey, I'm getting ready to go to the next signing. Here's my information. Leave a card, contact me later.
Oh my gosh. I think that's an amazing little networking tip nugget you just dropped fire on. I mean, people want to work with people who are in need, right? It's like a hairstylist, right? You don't want to go to the hairstylist who has like 27 open appointments. You're like,
Right.
how come you're always so available, right? You want to go to the hairstylist, you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm not available for 3 weeks, because you're like, oh, I get it. You're awesome. And so I love that little like psychological movement of like, I am actually on the way to appointment, but I want to stop by, say hi, introduce myself. But anyways, I'm out of here. I actually have to go to work because I'm in need. Taff, you're just dropping fire, man. I think people should watch us over and over and just listen to the knowledge that you're dropping. Taffy, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's talk about something else that I always like to end with, and we're going to wrap this up with. What is something, looking back at your journey, what was something you were nervous about in the beginning of this whole entire process, and now looking at it, you're like, I don't know why I was nervous at all.
I literally was afraid that I couldn't do the work. Even though I had taken the course and I had looked at the documentation, I was so afraid that I could not perform once I got to the signing. So I would turn stuff down over and over and over again because I was like, I can't do that. Who's going to hire me? Who's going to trust me? Now, notifications were coming in, but I was making a conscious choice, not believing in myself, saying I couldn't do the work. And now looking back, I'm like, why was I doing that? That didn't even make any sense. But I had to believe in Taffy and build Taffy's confidence level. And that's why I went with signing services for the whole first year. That allowed me to build up my confidence and prove to myself that I could do it. And then I was ready to go direct.
Taffy, I think that's so honest and raw, and I love it. I mean, the system was working, you were getting your notifications, you're getting calls for business, but you were literally too scared to take them.
Yes.
Not because the training program didn't give you the tools, but because you just weren't believing in yourself. And that's real and raw. And
Yes.
thank you for sharing that with everybody. Your $1,000 in your first 5 months could have been 3 or 4. You just were like, man, I'm so nervous. And now looking back, you realize that, look, these are just people, but number two, it's just paperwork. The paperwork's not that hard. I know we psych ourselves out because we've never done it before, but the paperwork you're watching people sign here, date there, initial
Yes.
there. In fact, you psyched yourself up over how hard that was.
Right.
Honest and raw. So I hope that, I asked that question because there's some people who are not signing agents yet who kind of have some questions that they need answered. And one of them is like, it's not as hard as you think it's going to be. It's kind of what I heard from you.
And we make it hard. I made it harder than what it needed to be because it's very much like you say, I could have been at 3 or 4,000, but I convinced myself that it was harder than what it was. So we stop ourselves from success.
Love it. I mean, that's really, really good. I mean, Taffy, this interview has been unbelievable. Let me ask you one last question. Maybe something off the top of your head is just fire, because the whole thing's been fire. Is any last words you want to leave to inspire somebody with? I mean, 2 years, zero, never been a signing agent, to being a six-figure signing agent at the end of their second year. Is there something you just want to say off the top of your head to inspire someone watching this video?
Block out the negative self-talk. That's the biggest thing, because it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing in the group. You're the only one who's looking at yourself in the mirror. Block it out and start cheering yourself on until you can do it. Because if I can do it, coming from zero, you can do it. And I'm an introvert.
Taffy, I cannot be more proud of you. I'm so happy for your family. I'm so happy where you are. I'm so happy for your husband. It's reinvigoration for life. Happy for the girls. There's everything. I can't wait to see you and give you a hug at conference this year. And until conference, Taff, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for this amazing interview.
Thank you. We can't wait to see you either. Bye-bye.
Bye.